Roger, please tell us something about yourself.
An English geographer, trained at school, Cambridge, LSE, fieldwork in Norway, and there's lots more, but that's about where it is. In terms of quantitative geography, probably Cambridge, but also before going to Cambridge I did 9 months at a new town collating a lot of data, doing what I was told.
Roger, for those people not intimately involved with the R and OS Geo communities, can you relate some of the main contributions you've made personally to the R and OS Geo community over the years?
With considerable difficulty. One of the things is thinking about a community, so thinking that a single person is never going to be able to manage very much without others around. But it's also listening to other people, so that listening to other people and bringing people together, yeah, that's about it. Thinking in terms of standardizing software representations, that seemed logical, but whether other people thought of it, I don't know. But it needed a certain amount of talking to people to bring things together so they actually happened.
Roger, can you elaborate on your key passions and interests just at this moment?
Again, not easy to answer. The key thing that I'm conscious of is that I'm approaching retirement, and that means that although I'd like to continue to maintain software and keep things running, I have to be aware of the bus factor and make sure that other people can do that. One of the ways of doing that's open source, because somebody else could take over, but it's also encouraging people, again, so building communities so that they can carry on doing things. If they find them worth doing. If they don't, then they go away, and that's fine.
Absolutely. Roger, you have contributed to multiple Geostat events over the years. Can you tell us what motivated you to decide to contribute initially, and what has kept you coming back over these many years?
The first one was just a Skype link, and I also Skyped into Alba Theta. But other than that, I think it's the participants and the other lecturers that we actually use the fact that we're in the same place together to talk through issues which are arising. So that you'll probably find that some of the details of preparing for applying for the SF Consortium grant were done, as I can't remember exactly, but I think that at the Lancaster Geostat that we were talking about things like that.
Roger, based on your many years of contributing to Geostat events, what observations can you make on the benefits that student participants have taken away from attending?
Nothing that I'd like to define empirically. I haven't collected any data on it. I know that I like relating conversations that I've had with participants when I'm teaching. Then I can use good examples that I've heard about. But beyond that, I don't have the data, so I don't know. I imagine that it's useful, but that's my imagination. I could be completely wrong.
Again, Roger, based on your long-term participation in Geostats over the years, what's your assessment of how the Geostat summer schools fit into and contribute to the larger R and OS Geo communities?
One of the ways is that some of the more active participants find ways to network that I've already in part mentioned. It's important to bring in new lecturers, and the last, probably all of the Geostats have brought in new people, and then some people are around for a little longer or not around for very much longer, and that may be okay as well, because there are different needs being met, both among the participants and for the lecturers, and the way in which the way in which the trajectories of the needs develop is very hard to predict.
Thank you so much. Roger, can you explain to people who may not be familiar with it the significance and function of the RSIG Geo mailing list?
The original logic was to copy that of other mailing lists. So at the time when RCGeo was set up, a couple of other special interest group mailing lists were set up, but prior to that, everything about R was discussed openly on the R and then the R help list, and that was where a lot of contacts took place. R Core has its internal private mailing list, which is not available for anybody else, but the R help list was one which from I have records from the original R list and then the R help list back to 1997, late 1996, and that was where one was in touch with other people, and the idea was to provide a more focused area, which meant that topics which were of particular interest to that group could be discussed there. The second would be that software issues would develop. The software issues developing there would be people asking questions about software or people suggesting things which could be done better.
Roger, what have you personally gotten out of your participation in the Geostats events over the years?
Meeting some people I didn't know before, meeting interesting participants. The format is probably helpful, although sometimes the format goes in the direction of me working on something else while I'm listening with my other ear at what's going on. And that's good too.
Roger, who would you especially encourage to attend future Geostat events and why?
In the past I've encouraged isolated doctoral students or younger researchers who do not have the local support and are unsure where to look for support. That gives them a virtual network which then meets in one place. For people who are in an institutional setting where they feel that they have the support already, that may be useful, but it's most useful for people who feel that they need much more support. So that if you have a supervisor who really doesn't understand what you're trying to do, and even after you've said, well, this is the literature and this is how it's done, you still don't know how to, say, invite other people to be your doctoral committee, then coming here gives you the opportunity to talk to some dozens of people who are probably in the same situation, and some people who were in your situation but have now resolved it, and you can learn a lot from talking to them.
Thanks so much, Roger. Now, Roger, do you have any other comments or suggestions about the Geostat courses or the ROS Geo communities that you'd like to share with us?
Probably encouraging people to be proactive, to join in, do things. As Edsa said yesterday, he didn't say to the camera, but he said yesterday, asking good questions remains an art, and probably for people who feel less confident, getting towards a good question is an enormous step, and it's not too difficult to make. So that among other things, being at events like this, it gives the opportunity to find out how much you actually know yourself and how you could contribute in the future.
Roger, you were recognized at this year's Geostat event with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Can you share with us some thoughts about receiving that award?
Shock.
Wonderful. That's very beneficial. We're very happy. Is that good?
No, it was shock, but as I mentioned earlier, when you're at an age when you're approaching retirement, then things like this may happen, but it certainly was not expected.
Well, you were very deserving of it, and we were appreciative of you spending time with us and responding to our questions. Thanks so much.
Okay.